Diana, you must hold the record for both being the youngest star ever and the youngest self-made millionaire.
I think I was. Yeah, I really think so. Because, see, Jackie Coogan was 4 years old when he was discovered in 1919. And the film wasn't released until 1921. Because all of 1920, Chaplin spent running away from his former wife and cutting the film that she was trying to steal so that she could get the money for it instead of him. And so Coogan was caught in that problem, and he never got really, this film wasn't premiered or released until January of 21. And that 1 year, he was just stuck there. And he was under contract, under an option, and he couldn't leave. So he was 4 or 5, he was 6 when he was finally on the screen. I was started at 20 months of age, and I was paid the first week $75, same salary he got, $75 a week. And I was 20 months old, and when I turned 2, which I recently just discovered this, when I turned 2, Julius Stern named me a star on the lot. He claimed that I was a star, and he raised me to $150. He doubled my salary. And he said that even the dog that I worked with was not to be discriminated against because of his being a dog. And I wasn't to be discriminated against because I was only 20 years old, or 2 years old. That I really should get the award of being an actress. And I was very good, and that I deserved the salary, and I deserved to be made a star on the line. And so that meant that he would put me on those ads. He had double truck spreads in the trade magazines. And each of his comedians and his people got good promotion. And he brought me on, and he put me in experience training films with other comics on the lot. So I got training until I was able to walk almost. You know, I was just a toddler. So that's how I started, yeah.
Now, how many films did you make altogether?
Well, now we found out that probably less, maybe 50 or 55, somewhere in that neighborhood. We've only found, but we know how many there were. There was probably about 45 or 50. But some weren't released and some weren't finished. So we were not sure which ones. It's kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
But I made that we know of 45 2 real comedies, and then I made 3 feature films for Universal in 1 year, and then I made 2 films for Saul Lesser in 24.
Mm-hmm.
So I started in 21. I started in 1920, and in 22 I made the lion's share of my films. I was 3 years old, and that year was my big productive year. And then in 1923 I went to Universal for those 3 pictures, and in 24 I made 2 films for Lesser. So I did 5 pictures and 45 2
Okay. But most of your films were for Century?
Except for Saul Lesser and Universal.
Okay.
Universal released all of the comedies, but they didn't make them. Century made them. Yeah.
Right.
So I was under contract to Century for the first 2 years, 3 years. Yeah.
And where was Century located?
Right at Gower and Sunset. It was one of the earliest. It was the earliest studio in Hollywood. You know. But it was just a little poverty studio, you know.
Right over there by Horsley and
Yeah.
and,
right,
and the Christies.
And Nestor's old studio. It was the Nestor Lodge is what it was. Yeah.
Now, you were obviously one intelligent child.
I got the message pretty early, yeah. I had a great work ethic. I really did. I liked to work. I still do. You know, I really enjoy work. And so if you asked me to do anything, I was glad to do it. And I was a very willing person, nature, you know, just a very willing nature. And I was sort of fearless. I did a lot of stunts because my father was a stuntman, you know. He figured I could do a lot of things. He wasn't going to coddle me, you know.
I see.